Midnight. The phone rang in the dark, cutting through the thick silence of the house. I picked it up. Before I could say a word, I heard my son's voice, trembling, choking on his own sobs. "Dad, please help me." Then the line went dead. 15 minutes later, I was standing there, frozen, staring through the frosted glass of the interrogation room. The harsh white light spilled over the cold tile floor. Inside, my boy, 17 years old, sat curled up in the corner. His clothes were soaked with blood. His face was swollen, bruised, like someone had crushed it under their boots. He looked up, eyes red, empty, staring straight through me, as if he didn't know me anymore. The door creaked open. The smell of disinfectant, mixed with the metallic stench of blood, hit me in the face. I stepped inside, knelt down in front of him. "Son, what happened?" He was shaking. His hands clung to my arm like a drowning man. "Dad, I didn't do anything." "But they won't believe me. And it's Mom. She made me." The words stopped there, cutting through me like a cold blade. I froze. I couldn't believe what I just heard. A storm of questions crashed into my head all at once. Mom? She'd been gone from our lives for years. Why now? Why this? A police officer standing behind me finally spoke, slow and heavy. "You need to hear the whole story from him. But prepare yourself. This is only the beginning." I held my son's hands tighter. His skin was ice cold. And I had no idea that tonight, that one phone call, was the door that would open. And on the other side, I'd lose everything I thought I could ever hold on to. A few hours before that phone rang in the middle of the night, life for the two of us was still quiet, just like any other day. That evening, we sat in the living room, eating cold pizza on that old wooden table. On TV was that same Star Wars movie we'd already seen 5 times. Noah laughed every time the clumsy pilot wrecked another ship. At one point, he laughed so hard he choked on his soda. I had to grab a paper towel and wipe him up. "Dad, one day I'll build a robot way cooler than this one." "Yeah, just make sure it doesn't destroy my garage first." Noah squinted and grinned. Moments like that, I really thought the storm had passed. I had no idea, just a few hours later, that smile would be gone. People like to say, a man who loses his wife comes out stronger. That's not true. The day Emily, my wife, died in that crash, I lost my bearings. I saw her body with my own eyes. I stood there at her burial, and then walked home, holding a 5-year-old boy, into a cold kitchen and a silent dinner. Night after night, I'd put him to sleep, and wipe away my own tears in the dark. I couldn't even boil an egg without burning it. But time taught me how to stand back up, how to cook, how to braid hair, how to be both a father and a mother. Noah grew up with the smell of motor oil and my calloused hands. He got my stubborn streak, but his eyes and that smile were all Emily. Some afternoons we'd sit in the garage, just the two of us, wrenches in hand, fixing up an old pickup truck with music playing in the background. He'd sing along, off-key. I'd be tightening bolts, grinning like an idiot. "Someday, I'll open a bigger shop than yours, Dad, and you'll be the manager." "Fine. Just don't fire me and make me work security out front." I thought, as long as I had him, I'd be fine. But these last few months, Noah changed. Quieter, always locked in his room. His light stayed on late at night. Every time I asked him to come out to the garage, he'd just shake his head. "I've got homework, Dad." One cold evening, while doing his laundry, I found a wrinkled envelope in his jacket pocket. Inside was just one piece of paper, 4 words scrawled in a rush. "Don't tell anyone." When I asked him, he gave me a half smile. "Just my friends messing around, Dad." I knew he was hiding something, but I stayed quiet. Sometimes, as a father, you're afraid to ask, afraid of the answer. Another night, I went out back to take out the trash, and heard a voice. Noah, standing in the corner of the yard, phone to his ear. I promised, "Okay, I'll be there. Just don't make me do more. I'm scared Dad will find out." I froze in the dark, hand on the doorknob, but I couldn't step forward. I stayed up all night that night. I told myself, this weekend, I'll take him fishing. Just the two of us. We'll talk. We'll figure it out. I thought I still had time. For years, I never spoke about Emily. Noah was too young to remember much. But me, I could never forget those blue eyes. There's one memory that never leaves me. Emily sitting in the passenger seat of my old truck, drawing little shapes on the fogged-up window. Then turning to me with that laugh used to be the warmest thing I knew. The last 6 months before the crash, we fought a lot. Emily wanted to leave this small town. I just wanted to stay. We never made peace. Then the accident came, and it ended everything. After that, her family cut us off. It was just me and Noah. So when, in that interrogation room, Noah looked at me with tears in his eyes and said, "It's Mom. She made me." It was like a hammer to my chest. I couldn't move. Sitting there, under that harsh light, I realized something. Somewhere along the way, a distance had grown between us, a gap I never saw. I thought I knew my boy. I thought we were still the same. But there were secrets he had to carry alone. Secrets heavy enough to turn a 17-year-old into the trembling kid sitting in that room. I looked at his hands. When he was little, whenever he was scared, he'd grab my thumb and hold on for dear life. That night, he did it again. Only this time, his hand was as big as mine, and cold as ice. I felt empty, because I knew, from that moment on, the little world I'd tried so hard to hold together was gone. The door to the interrogation room shut behind us. That dry click echoed in my head like a blade. This room makes you feel small. Cold gray walls, the smell of disinfectant mixed with metal from the table, and that chill rising from the tiled floor. I pulled a chair, sat down next to Noah. His hands were on his knees, thin, trembling. I put my hand on his shoulder, feeling every shake travel into me. An officer behind me spoke quietly. "Mr. McLean, your lawyer's on the way. You have 5 minutes alone." The door closed. Just the two of us. The only sound was Noah's uneven breathing. I lowered my voice. "Noah, what happened? Why are you here?" He bit his lip, kept his eyes on the floor. Blood at the corner of his mouth had dried and spread onto his shirt. "Dad, I didn't do anything." I squeezed his hand. "I believe you, but others won't. You have to tell me." He stayed silent for a long time. Then the sobs came, broken, uneven. They told me to just show up, stand there, and it would all be over. I didn't even know what was happening. Then people started fighting. Cops stormed in. Everyone ran. I couldn't. I swallowed hard. "Who told you to do that?" Noah looked up, red-eyed, voice raw. "It was Mom. She told me." Those words made everything around me go silent, even my own breath. I forced myself to stay calm. "Say it clearly. Who is this woman?" Noah's voice shook. His eyes searched for a place to hold on. "She came to me a few months ago. Said she was my mom. She knew everything. About the old truck, the lullaby she used to sing. She even showed me your wedding picture." I didn't know what to believe. I took a deep breath. Emily, in that white dress, standing next to me, flashed in my head. "I saw your mother die, Noah. You're sure she wasn't mistaken?" He shook his head hard, his voice breaking. "I asked her that too. She just said, 'There are things you never knew.' That's what she apologized for leaving. Then she said, if I helped her with just one small thing, we could be a family again." "And what was that small thing?" I asked, my voice stretched tight. "Go to that abandoned parking lot. Stand there. Wait for her." She promised she'd explain everything. He buried his head in his arms, sobbing. I just wanted to see her. I never thought it would turn into this. The door burst open. An officer stepped in, a file in his hand. "You can stay. We're just going to ask him a few questions." I nodded, keeping my hand on Noah's shoulder. They asked. Noah told them everything. How she always called from hidden numbers. How she chose empty parks. Always covered her face with dark glasses, a wide brim hat. How every meeting ended with a gift, a pair of shoes, a coat. And every time she whispered the same thing, "We'll be a family again." The officer opened the file. Photographs spilled across the table. Blood on the pavement. Broken glass. A car window smashed in. My fingers dug into the edge of the table until they hurt. The officer's voice was stern. "You say she's your mother. Do you have any proof?" "Messages." "Calls?" Noah shook his head, his voice barely a whisper. "She only called. I didn't save anything. I was scared Dad would find out." I turned to the officer. "My son lost his mother when he was 5. Someone used that to pull him into this." The officer stared at Noah for a long moment, then gave a slow nod. "Cameras confirm he didn't join the fight. For now, you can go home. But listen, if she contacts you again, call us immediately. This case isn't closed." As we walked out of the station, Noah seemed drained, every step heavy. I put my arm around him, guided him to the car. The sky was starting to pale. The streets were empty, the wind freezing. In the car, after a long silence, Noah finally asked, "Dad, what if Mom's still alive?" That question cut straight through me. "I don't know, Noah. I saw it happen. But if it really was her, we need to be careful. Whoever that is, they're using you." Noah turned his face to the window. His voice was barely a breeze. When she looked at me, it felt like it was really her. He stayed silent the rest of the way. When we got home, he collapsed into sleep. I sat alone in the garage. The old fluorescent light flickered above me, the smell of motor oil all around. I held his phone in my hand. The call history was nothing but a few unknown numbers. No messages, no pictures, just calls that came and disappeared. I sat there, gripping that phone, my chest heavy like a stone. One question spun in my head. If Emily really is alive, why come back like this? I know this night is only the beginning, and even if I have to tear open every old wound, I will find the truth. That morning, the town was unnervingly quiet. The air outside felt heavy, like it was warning me that something was coming. I stood at the front door, looking out at that long, sunlit road. Not a single soul in sight. The wind cut through the trees, and I thought about those eyes I saw last night. Those blue eyes shook my whole world. If that really was Emily, why come back like a fugitive? And if it wasn't, how did she know things only Emily could know? By noon, I called Rick, my friend on the force, and asked him to trace the unknown numbers on Noah's phone. "Burner phones," Rick said. "Used once and tossed. But I'll try." "Thomas, this isn't small." After we hung up, I opened my laptop. This time, I dug into Noah's old social media accounts. And there it was, a hidden account. Profile picture, a single sunflower. The first message, "It's Mom. Give me a chance to talk to you." Then more messages. "Promises? We'll be a family again. Just listen to me, and everything will change." No name, no real photos. My fingers went cold as I read. When Noah woke up, he wouldn't meet my eyes. Lunch was nothing but the sound of cutlery hitting plates. "Noah," I said, "I need to see every message and every call. We have to find the truth." He looked up, voice shaking. "You don't get it. She's my mom. You never gave her a chance. I just don't want you to be used. You always think the worst of everyone. You have no idea what it feels like to go 12 years without a mother." He shot up, his fork hitting the floor, then stormed upstairs. The door slammed. The sound was like a hammer to the chest. That night, I stepped out on the porch. A black car sat parked a few houses down. Headlights off, windows dark, but in the glow of the street light, I could see someone sitting inside, watching. I walked toward it. Gravel crunched under my boots. When I was just a few yards away, the engine roared to life. Headlights flared. The car spun around and shot off, leaving nothing but the stink of burnt rubber. I stood there, heart pounding. Someone was watching us. Around 10 that night, while I was in the garage, the phone rang from upstairs, Noah's room. I heard whispering, like wind slipping through a crack. I ran. His door was cracked open. He was curled up by the window, phone to his ear. When he saw me, he jumped. The phone fell from his hand. "Who was that?" I asked. He grabbed the phone, held it tight. "No one." "It's her, isn't it?" "Stay out of this," Noah shouted. "I just want to hear her voice." He tried to pull away. In the struggle, the phone flew out of his hand. On the screen, for a split second, I saw that same unknown number. He snatched it back and slammed the door in my face. I stood there, hand on the door, my chest tight like it was being crushed. That night, after he fell asleep, I took the phone. That number was still there, a call from just a few minutes ago. I wrote it down, put the phone back. The next morning, I gave the number to Rick. "Brand new," he said. "Looks like they keep moving around. If it really is your wife, why is she hiding like a criminal?" I didn't answer, because I didn't know. Days went by. Noah barely spoke. I'd see him sit by the window for hours, phone in his hand, eyes far away, like he was waiting for someone. One afternoon, I caught him out in the backyard, holding my wedding photo with Emily. When I stepped closer, he dropped it. "She gave that to you, didn't she?" He nodded slightly. "Dad, why does she have this picture? If she's not Mom, then who is she?" I had no answer. Only one thought kept looping in my head. I have to find her. The third night, rain came hard, hitting the roof like a drum. Close to midnight, I heard a rattle from the back door. I grabbed a baseball bat, walked down. The door was ajar. Out on the porch, a figure stood still in the pouring rain. "Who's there?" I barked. The figure turned. A flash of lightning split the sky. In that instant, I saw a woman's face. Long, drenched hair, and eyes, blue, sharp as knives. She opened her mouth, her voice hoarse. "Noah." Then, from somewhere in the distance, the sound of an engine approaching fast. She flinched, turned, and ran. I chased, but the rain whipped across my face. The night was blind. In seconds, she was gone. I stood there, soaked through, my grip tight on the bat. Those eyes, real or just a nightmare? The next morning, Rick called. "Thomas, a witness from that parking lot says they saw a woman with Noah right before the fight broke out. When the cops arrived, she pulled him away and ran. They said she had very striking blue eyes." My hand froze around the phone. That night, I sat across from Noah. I saw her, right in our backyard. "If that's your mom, we'll find the truth. But you have to promise me, no more secrets." Noah lowered his head. His hands clenched. "I'm scared that she'll disappear again." I put my hand on his shoulder. "I'd rather lose everything than let you chase these answers alone." Outside, the rain kept falling. Inside our small house, the air felt so heavy you could barely breathe. And I knew we'd just crossed a line. Nothing would be the same again. That night, the wind howled through the trees, scraping across the empty road. Inside, Noah was asleep. But even in sleep, his hand rested close to the phone. When the screen lit up, I saw the message appear. "Meet me where we used to go. Alone. Tonight." I froze. No place was mentioned. It didn't have to be. I knew. The abandoned parking lot. My heart was pounding. Delete the message, or go. I looked at my son. Even in that pale light, his face was tight from days of waiting. I whispered, "You won't be going alone." I slipped the phone into my pocket and walked out. The industrial district at midnight was like a mouth swallowing everything. I killed the headlights far away and walked through rows of deserted warehouses. The air stank of rusted metal. Gravel crunched under my boots, each step as heavy as my heartbeat. And then, in the middle of that lot, a lone figure stood beneath a dying streetlight. I tightened my grip on the flashlight and walked closer. "Who are you?" My voice came out raw. The figure slowly pulled back the hood. Light spilled across her face. Long wet hair, and blue eyes so deep they stopped me cold. "Emily!" The word tore out of me. She took one step forward, eyes glistening. "Thomas, I'm sorry. I didn't die. That crash, it was staged." Her words sliced the night wide open. Blood roared in my ears. The world went silent, except for my own pulse. Emily looked straight at me, her voice shaking, but clear. "You never knew. My father owed a powerful group. They threatened to take everything. That day, I had two choices. Disappear, or watch them swallow you and Noah. I chose to disappear." Tears blurred my vision. 12 years, not a single word. They watched every move. I couldn't. Only after my father died did things quiet down. I found a way to reach Noah. I knew he was the only one who could bring you here. I couldn't risk calling you directly. This was the only way I could see you both, safe. I choked. "And dragging him into this, do you know what he's been through?" Emily dropped her head. Her shoulders shook. "Do you think I wanted this? For 12 years, I've been nothing but a ghost. Do you know what it feels like? To watch your child grow up and never be able to hold him." Then, gravel scraped behind me. I spun around, a figure running fast. Noah. He must have woken up and seen the message before I could erase it. "Mom." His voice cracked the night. Emily opened her arms. He fell into them, and she held him tight. Sobs echoed in the empty lot. I stood frozen, unsure whether to pull him back or let him stay. And then, from the distance, an engine's roar. Headlights swept over the lot. Emily tore herself from Noah, panic in her eyes. "They've found us," she shouted. "Thomas, get Noah out of here. You don't understand. They never let go." "Who?" I yelled. "My father's men. They don't want the truth out? If they take me again, none of you will be safe. A black car skidded to a stop, just yards away. Doors flew open. 2 men stepped out. Something metallic glinted in their hands. Every step they took ground the gravel like a blade. Emily screamed, "Run!" I looked around. Part of me wanted to grab Noah and bolt, but another part knew, if we ran, she would vanish again. In that moment, everything hit me. Noah trembling in that interrogation room, his hand clutching mine, and now, Emily's eyes. I made my choice. I pulled Noah behind me. "Dad." His voice was shaking. "Don't leave her again." The 2 men were almost on us. The lights cut across their faces, cold, empty. I raised the flashlight. My voice thundered, "Stop. The cops know everything. One more step, and every camera here catches your faces. You want that on record?" They hesitated. I saw it, the blinking red of a security camera mounted on a pole. They looked at each other, then turned, climbed back in the car. Gravel spat out from the tires as they sped into the night. Emily stood there, soaked, shaking. Her blue eyes locked on me and Noah. Relief, and a pain so deep it could swallow you. "Thomas." Her voice was barely a breath. "I can't come home. Not yet. But I promise I won't disappear again. And you have to be ready, because when the truth comes out, you'll see. None of us were anything more than pieces on their board." Her words cut straight into me. Emily bent down, touched Noah's cheek. Her hand was ice cold. Then she turned and ran into the rain, her figure swallowed by the storm. Noah and I stood there, drenched. He clutched my hand, trembling. "Dad, that was really Mom, wasn't it?" I held him tight. In that cold, pounding rain, I knew one thing for certain. Tonight wasn't the end. It was only the beginning. The next morning, sunlight poured through the window, but it couldn't lift the heaviness that hung over the house. Noah sat silent at the table, both hands wrapped around a warm mug, fingers white from the grip. He didn't drink a drop. In the kitchen, I poured coffee. It cooled before I even touched it. The whole house felt frozen. The only sound, the dry, steady ticking of the clock. Noah spoke first, his voice barely above a whisper. "Dad, last night. That was real, right? Not a dream." I pulled out a chair, sat next to him, looked him straight in the eye. "It was real. It was your mom." He turned away, lips trembling. "I thought when I saw her, I'd run to her. I thought all the anger would just disappear. But standing there, I felt scared. She's still Mom, but she felt like a stranger." I put my hand on his shoulder. "You're right to feel that way. 12 years changes everything." The words barely left my mouth before he broke down. He buried his face in my shoulder. Hot tears soaked through my shirt. I held him tight, feeling every shiver run through him. And in that moment, I knew, if I fall apart, he'll have nothing left to hold on to. The morning dragged on, heavy as stone. When I stepped outside, there was an envelope on the doorstep. I opened it. Inside was a photo. Me and Noah, last night, sitting at the kitchen table under the light. The shot had been taken from outside the window. Our curtains open, everything visible. No words. No note. A cold wave ran through me. Someone was watching us. Every minute. I almost tore the picture to pieces. But halfway through, I stopped. I picked it up, folded it neatly, and slipped it into my wallet. If they thought that photo would scare me, they were wrong. It would remind me. From now on, I won't back down. That evening, as Noah was about to close his bedroom door, I stopped him. "We can't live like this. They're watching the house, and they'll be back." He looked down, voice hoarse. "What are you going to do?" "Call the cops. I don't trust them anymore. Not just the cops. I'll dig myself. But I need to know, before that night at the lot, how many times did you meet her?" He was quiet for a long moment, then answered softly, 4. She never said much. Always dropped me off right after, always looking around like she was being followed. The last time, she gave me the wedding photo. Told me not to tell you. I nodded. Emily never meant to hurt him, but the way she chose dragged him straight into danger. When night came, I opened the folder Rick had given me. Page after page. In a grainy traffic cam shot, there it was. The plate number of that black car. I snapped a photo and sent it to Rick. "Please, find them for me, before it's too late." The next few days, Noah barely slept. Every night, he sat with his phone, scrolling through every message. Sometimes, I'd find him standing alone in the backyard, eyes fixed on the dark, like he was waiting for a shadow to appear. In the morning, his desk was covered with sketches. Blue eyes, wet hair, trying to hold on to fading memories. "Are you just going to wait for her to show up?" I asked. He clenched the paper in his hand. "If you won't look for her, I will." One afternoon, the house was too quiet. Wind slipped through the cracks. The clock ticked slow. And then, ring! The landline. A phone we hadn't touched in years. The shrill ringing split the silence in half. I picked it up. A man's voice, deep, cold as steel. "Stop digging. Next time, it won't just be a photo. Remember your son's life." Click. The line went dead. I stood there frozen, hand locked around the receiver. When I turned, Noah was standing at the door. He didn't ask. His eyes said it all. I sat down across from him. "Listen to me, Noah. We have two choices. Stay silent. Do nothing. Or face it together." "I want to face it." His answer came fast. His eyes were burning. "I lost Mom once. I'm not losing her again. But you have to promise me, no more running off on your own. From now on, every step, we take together." He nodded, and for the first time in days, I saw a flicker of life in his eyes. That night, after he fell asleep, I opened my laptop. A message from Rick popped up. "I called in a favor from Data Bureau. That license plate belongs to a trucking company. Dissolved years ago. Just a shell. Behind it, there's an underground group. The same one that worked for Emily's father." I clenched the mouse in my hand. Everything Emily said was turning out to be true. The next morning, I told Noah, "From now on, you're coming with me to the shop. No more staying home alone." He looked surprised, but nodded. After that night, he understood. Danger was already at our door. Before leaving, I pulled the photo from my wallet, looked at it one last time, and slipped it into my jacket. Not as a fear, but as a reminder, from now on, we're in this fight. Outside, the wind tore across the empty road. I gripped the steering wheel, thinking, if they want to end this, they'll have to go through me first. That afternoon, the air was still, no wind. Noah and I sat on the front steps of the shop. For the first time in years, there was no wall between us. The sunset painted the warehouse roofs in the distance a deep red. Neither of us said a word. Even the machines around us seemed to go quiet, leaving only the faint sound of cooling metal. Noah spoke first, his voice soft. "Dad, if things had been different, Mom would be in the kitchen right now, cooking dinner with you. Wouldn't she?" I stayed silent, letting the question hang in the air. Only after a long pause I said, "Maybe, but no matter what the past was, I'm grateful we're still here, sitting side by side." He nodded, then leaned his head against my shoulder. I felt his breathing, uneven, fragile. Like for the first time in 12 years, he allowed himself to lean on someone. When I closed up the shop, I opened the toolbox and took out that photo, the one shot through the window. Under the yellow light, the image stared back at me. One look was enough to remind me, we can't just sit and wait anymore. I put the photo back, locked the box. Tomorrow, I'd find Rick. Start with that plate number, those faces in the files. They might be powerful, but this time, I'm done sitting still. That night, Noah slept soundly on a fold-out bed in the shop. I lay on the couch, staring at the ceiling, listening to the wind slip through the cracks. In the dark, I turned to look at him. Even in sleep, his brow was furrowed. Trapped in some heavy dream, it hit me just how much these 12 years had weighed on those narrow shoulders. I closed my eyes, and there it was again, Emily's blue eyes. And her last words, "When the truth comes out, you'll realize all of us are just pawns." I don't know if I'm strong enough to uncover that truth. But there's one thing I do know. Wherever this road leads, I'll walk it with Noah. In the morning, when he woke, I placed a cup of warm milk in front of him. He took it, then looked straight into my eyes. "Dad, I'm not giving up. Whether Mom comes back or not, I'm not letting you fight this alone." I stayed quiet for a few seconds, then said slowly, "I lost your mother once. I swear, I won't let the dark take you from me too." That wasn't a promise. It was a vow. We got in the truck. Morning fog covered the small town road. I drove slow, listening to Noah's calm breathing in the passenger seat. At the curve leading out of town, I stopped, rolled the window down. The wind rushed in, carrying the smell of damp earth and the scent of pine from far-off woods. I turned to him. "Noah, I don't know what the future looks like, But there's one thing I'm sure of. From today on, we never turn our backs on each other. He looked at me, and for the first time, there was no tremor in his eyes. He nodded. I promise. I started the engine. The rumble of the truck tore through the quiet morning. In the rearview mirror, the little town grew smaller and smaller. Ahead of us, the road stretched long, part trial, part chance. Somewhere out there, I knew Emily was looking the same way. One day, the three of us will have to face it all. Not just each other, but every shadow that has haunted us for 12 long years. The camera pulls back. On the roadside, hidden behind the trees, a black car rolls forward, slow and silent, keeping its distance. We don't see it, but the audience does. This journey has only just begun.